Mom! Goodness me. You sound just like a child, you know. So what if I act a little childish? I'm going to move out soon and you're going to miss me when I'm gone.
Exactly. Let the poor girl release her inner child a little.
You're the best, Dad. And you shouldn't be encouraging her. What if she starts acting like that in front of her in-laws?
Come to think of it, it's a little strange that we haven't met them yet. What with the wedding already decided and everything. In fact, I don't think I even know the first thing about them. Do you know anything about them, Nikki? Has Mark talked to you about them before?
I'm just as much in the dark about them as you are. Mark doesn't really seem to like talking about them that much. Whenever it comes up, his facial expression darkens and he becomes all awkward and he tries to change the subject.
Oh, really? Well, that is strange, isn't it?
You think so too, right? I always talk about you two and stuff that happens with our family, but Mark doesn't really mention them at all. Well, not everyone likes to prattle on endlessly like you do, Nikki. He seems to be more of the stoic type. He has kind of a quiet charm to him. Anyway, next week I'm finally going to meet his parents for the first time. So I guess I'm going to be able to find out what they're like. Well, just make sure that you don't act as immature as you do when you're at home with us, okay? Yes, Mom. Of course I won't. I'm so nervous.
Are you okay, honey? If you're too nervous, we can always come another day.
What are you talking about? We already set the date, so I don't want to make a bad impression on your parents by backing out at the last minute. I've been wanting to meet them for ages, and now that my chance has finally come, I really don't want to mess things up.
But honey, I really need to stress that my family are nothing like yours.
It's fine, don't worry. It's only natural for me to be nervous in this situation. Don't worry about me, okay? Oh, my son! There you are! Come on in and sit down. It's cold outside today, isn't it? Come and warm yourself up. Hi there. It's so nice to meet you. Oh, you're here. I suppose you can come in as well. Hello there, sir. Allow me to formally introduce myself. I'm Mark's fiancé, Nicola, but you can call me Nikki.
I wouldn't be so confident about that if I were you.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you've come to ask for our permission to let you marry our son, haven't you? So why are you acting as if it's already decided when we haven't given you our blessing yet? You can consider this as an interview to see whether or not you're fit to be our daughter-in-law. If we don't like you, of course we're not going to give you our blessing. And of course you're not going to be able to go ahead with the wedding.
Oh, I see.
Mom, cut it out already. Stop saying things like that. She came to introduce herself to you as my fiancé, and that's that. Well, I don't see what I've done wrong. I feel like everything I just said should be a given. Do you think I'm going to let just anyone become my precious son's wife? Absolutely not. She will need to go through a thorough screening process first. Nothing can be decided until we've given our permission. No, Mom. You actually don't have any say in this. She's the woman I love, and I'm the one who proposed to her. I proposed to her because I decided that I want to spend the rest of my life with her. I don't like this one bit. You could have easily gotten a girl from a better family. What are you doing there, standing in the doorway still? Let's carry on talking inside. It's freezing! Oh, of course. What was I thinking? Come on, quickly come in.
What is with the atmosphere in this place?
So, your name is Nikki, is it?
Yes, that's right.
And you're working right now, right? What is it that you do?
I work in the marketing department of an advertising company.
Nikki is very smart, you see. She was scouted by this company before she had even graduated from college, and she's been working there ever since. She's very respected within the company, and she's climbed pretty high up the ranks already. Well, why does any of that matter when she's going to be quitting her job once she gets married anyway?
I'm sorry. What did you just say?
I said that it doesn't matter how well you do at work, because you're going to quit as soon as you get married. Like all women should. Honestly, why do I have to repeat myself? You're young, and I'm sure that your ears still work fine.
I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding here. I'm not going to be quitting my job once I get married, nor when I have children. I've spent my whole adult life building up this career, and I have no intention of giving it up. I've become quite an integral part of the company now, you see.
Oh my goodness! What are you even saying? Have you not told her about how things work around here yet, Mark? Mom, just give it a rest already.
What are you talking about?
The women who marry into our family must quit their jobs once they get married. It's non-negotiable. What kind of woman focuses on work when it's completely against the natural order of things? If a woman works, then she won't be able to cater to her husband and kids, which is her entire purpose in life. And not to mention the housework. And then there's us, of course. You'll need to be waiting on us hand and foot as well.
Hand and foot, you say?
Well, yes, of course. All of these things are what should naturally be expected from a daughter-in-law. She should put taking care of her husband above everything else. You do know how to cook, right? Yes, Nikki is an amazing cook, Mom. Did you not see the pictures of the food she made for the New Year's party that I sent you? Oh yes, I saw, all right. Heavy, creamy pasta, hamburgers, cupcakes. None of it had any nutritional value. Just looking at the pictures made my stomach turn so much that I thought I was going to throw up. Mom! A good wife should know how to make healthy, balanced meals for her husband. She should always make sure he eats a hearty breakfast before he leaves for work, and should also pack him a nutritious lunch to take with him. You should be serving my son 3 nutritious square meals a day. But from what I've seen, all you know how to make is junk food. What a disgrace you are. You're not going to be able to feed my son well at all, are you?
Well, that's...
And then of course you need to make sure that we're fed healthy meals as well. Honestly, I don't know how my poor son was seduced by such a useless woman.
I'm sorry, but what do you mean by feeding you as well?
Well, you're going to be living with us, so of course you'll be cooking with us as well. Don't tell me that you are thinking of not bothering to cook for us and just going off to work instead. Where did you drag this girl in from? Mom!
I haven't heard anything about us coming to live with you. Honey, can you please explain what's going on here?
What are you doing calling him honey in front of your elders like that? You should be calling him sir!
Excuse me, what?
I know that some young people these days have all these progressive ideas in their heads, but you need to understand that women are fundamentally inferior to men, so you need to be subservient in serving their husbands and bearing children. And because of that, of course she should surrender herself completely to her husband's family. So it's only natural for you to come and live with us once you're married. You should start thinking about ending the lease on that apartment of yours as well, son. Dad, what on earth are you even talking about? I told you a million times that I'm not moving back in with you, marriage or no marriage. Why are you acting as if those conversations just never happened all of a sudden? You're the oldest son of this family, and therefore you have a duty towards us as well. Your purpose in life is to take responsibility for the parents who raised you. So of course you should live with us and start building your family under our roof. And don't forget that once we pass on, everything we own becomes yours. If you don't want to renounce your inheritance, then you should know what's best for you and just come and live with us. That's right. You should listen to your father. And you know that I can't live without having my precious son by my side at all times. What are you talking about, Mom? It's been years since I last lived with you guys. But that doesn't change the fact that it's proper for you to come and live with us when you get married. If you don't agree to come and live with us, then we have no intention of giving our blessing for this marriage. So do what you will with that information.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry, Nikki. Are you really mad?
No, not mad. Just a little exhausted.
I'm sorry. I should have warned you in advance about what they're like.
Oh, no, it's fine. You stood your ground against them when the time came, and that was the most important thing. In the end, it was you who argued with your dad while trying to have that final conversation, whilst I just stood there, completely at a loss for words.
I'm so sorry. Still, I should have warned you about them in advance. As you saw, my parents are very traditional, rigid, and narrow-minded people. In fact, I think that none of those words are strong enough to describe exactly what it is that my parents are. They're the kind of people who really suffocate you with how much they pressure you.
They did say things that not even my grandparents would have dreamed of saying. The fact that they said all of that on our first meeting was a little too much to take in.
Whatever you say to them, it just doesn't go in. When I was a kid, I thought that their way of thinking was right because I didn't know any better. But after getting older and meeting more people and seeing that their parents weren't like that, I realized that my family were weird and had some very extreme stances. Whenever I would go over to my friends' houses, I would look at how their parents had normal relationships with each other and showed love and affection to their kids, and it made me so incredibly jealous.
Oh, honey.
They also put extra pressure on me because I'm the oldest son, making sure I went to the best schools and best college I could get into, and then of course the best paying job. They also believe that it's my duty to look after them in their old age because I'm going to be the recipient of their assets and property when they die. They think that I need to be as good to them as possible as some kind of payment so that they know I'm deserving of the inheritance or whatever. It's been really suffocating for me living like this, you know? Also, I don't know how my mom could have stood there and said those things to you when she spent her whole life acting as my dad's maidservant. As a fellow woman, how can she want to put someone else through what she's gone through? It doesn't make any sense to me, and it makes me really regret ever coming to see them. I'm so sorry. I'm so ashamed that I don't even know what to say to you.
You don't need to apologize for anything. I'm the one who should be apologizing to you. I had no idea that your parents were like that, and I was always prattling on about how much I loved my parents. It was very insensitive of me.
Why are you sorry for that? I never told you what my parents were like, so how were you supposed to know? And besides, I always liked hearing stories about your parents. Unlike my parents, they have a good relationship both with each other and with you. And they're always smiling and having animated conversations. They're the family I've always dreamed of having for myself, you know. I know that they love you deeply from the bottom of their hearts. And because my only knowledge of parents is people who suffocate you, I was so jealous of you for having such a harmonious family. I guess I just got unlucky with my lot in life.
Well, you and I will be able to create a happy and harmonious family together. I just know that you're going to be a great husband and a great father. I've never been more confident about anything.
Nikki,
You don't have any intention of us moving in with your parents at all, right?
Of course not. Living with them would be so suffocating that it might be the death of me.
Well, that's good to know. For now, shall we head over to my house and see my parents?
If that's okay with them.
Of course it will be. My mom and dad are always happy to see you. And so, in a nutshell, that's what happened.
I'm so sorry, Maria. Arthur. What on earth are you doing apologizing for, Mark? You haven't done anything wrong. It must have been so hard for you growing up in an environment like that.
Exactly. You have nothing to apologize for. Those kinds of ideas would have been out of place even in our parents' generation. I'm shocked to think that people of a similar age to us have such a backwards way of thinking.
And here we were thinking that you were a very stoic young man. It turns out you do know how to shed a tear after all. Don't be ashamed for crying in front of us. There's nothing wrong with a man showing his emotions every now and again. When things are hard, it's okay to show it. I had thought that our daughter would be the one crying today, but it turned out to be you in the end. Huh, son? I'm so sorry.
Why on earth are you apologizing for crying, my dear? My daughter, instead of apologizing after putting her father in that situation, just took off without a second thought. She's so irresponsible. Ugh, Mom! That was a mistake, I'm telling you.
That's right, honey. There's no need to bring that up in front of Mark now, is there? Well, there was this time that the two of them were playing some kind of VR game in the lounge. Honey!
Mom! Oh, Mark laughed.
I'm sorry. It's just that the situation was so funny. Well, if you thought hearing that much was funny, just you wait until you hear the rest of the story. I'll tell you the rest when we have dinner together later. When I heard you were coming, I quickly popped to the shops to get the ingredients to whip up something tasty for you later. Make yourself at home here. Okay, Mark? Yes, I will. Thank you both so much.
That evening, we put our heads together and pondered over what to do next in this situation. Of course, my family was with us on objecting to the idea of living with my fiancé's parents, but nobody was more against it than my fiancé himself. He said that he had no intention of us playing the part of oldest son and dutiful daughter-in-law in his parents' twisted family dynamic. He said that he wanted me to be his #1 priority as his wife-to-be, and didn't want to be forced into taking care of the family who had oppressed him all these years. My dad was very happy to see how determined my fiancé was to make me his priority, and I knew that he felt that my fiancé was someone who could be relied on. In the middle of our conversation, we came up with a solution that I think everyone agreed was a good way to deal with the situation. We wanted to make sure to shut up my fiancé's parents once and for all. We didn't know if it would work or not, but we figured it was worth a shot. From then on out, my dad and my fiancé started to work on the solution. My fiancé's parents kept trying to contact him, but he would only take necessary calls. We had, however, previously arranged for dinner in a fancy restaurant so that my parents and my fiancé's parents could meet each other face to face for the first time. That's where we decided to put the plan into action.
Hi there. It's so nice to finally meet you. I'm Arthur, Nikki's dad. Hello, I'm Randall, Mark's father. Honestly, these days, this son of ours is so busy that we barely ever get the chance to see his handsome face. Well, obviously, from now on, we're going to be able to see him every day, but it still makes me worry that he might be working himself to the ground. He is so very precious to me, you know. Ah, I see. Well, it's no secret that Mark is a very capable young man. You think so too, don't you? Wherever he goes, he always manages to stand out in a crowd. He's so popular that all the eligible young ladies in town are lining up for a chance to date him. All I have to do is show them his picture and they go crazy. I see. So you can imagine that I was quite shocked when he told me that he had proposed to a girlfriend I barely knew anything about, and said that everything about the wedding had already been decided. I know kids these days can be so rebellious, but I never imagined my son would be like that as well. Well, he's hardly a kid. He's a fully grown adult. And these days, nobody consults their parents about who they want to marry. They decide everything themselves, and that's normal and healthy. Even so, how can a child make a decision about something as big as marriage without so much as consulting their parents first? I don't mean to brag, but our family do pretty well for ourselves, and we raised our son to become our heir. So for him to choose who is going to become our daughter-in-law without asking us what we thought first was more than a little surprising. Well, he's the one who is going to be spending the rest of his life with her, so surely he should be the one to choose his own life partner. A marriage should be based off of mutual love and affection. Well, yes, that is true. But more than anything, a good daughter-in-law is someone who will take good care of their in-laws in their old age. Don't you agree? I always hoped that my Mark would choose a mild-tempered girl who always does as she's told to bring home to us. Of course, she also has to be skilled at cooking and housework and understand that her duty is to produce as many sons for the family line as possible. I don't think that our Nikki is going to take too kindly to your ideas of the perfect daughter-in-law. Well, she doesn't necessarily have to be all of those things, as long as she does as she's told at the end of the day. Well, I'm sure you're going to absolutely love my daughter. She's such a lovable girl, and she never caused us any trouble when she was growing up. I see. And not only that,
She was also admitted into a top college as a scholarship student and has always excelled at work. She also helps me out with my work from time to time as well. You work? May I ask what that may be? You see, well, I actually run a small advertising company. Have you heard of GG Advertising before?
GG Advertising, you say? Yes, of course I've heard of them. It's a company that not only has ads on TV and YouTube, but also has many small and medium-sized businesses eager to place an ad with them.
Yes, well, I'm the CEO of that company. I started the company from scratch after getting married to Nikki's dad here. My husband has always believed in my abilities and has never once made me feel like I couldn't succeed in the business world just because I'm a woman. He's always been my biggest cheerleader and has supported me at every stage of the company's growth. Thanks to him, we were able to have Nikki and still make sure that we were both working.
Oh, I see.
I mean, we now live in a world where it's basically impossible to get by if the husband is the only one going out and earning money for the family. Women are just as capable of working as men, and Nikki has also shown a lot of promise. So I'm planning on having her move to my company after she's gained enough experience at her current job, with the ultimate goal being to have her take over when I retire. She must take after me a lot, because she's naturally very skilled in the marketing department and is doing quite well for herself. Ah, she is. Oh, and by the way, we were thinking of having Nikki and Mark come and live with us. I'm sorry. What did you just say? Live with you? Yes. If they come and live with us, it will be a good chance for them to learn business management skills from us, and we can all share the housework between the four of us. I think it would be a win-win situation. They've both already said that they think it's a great idea. What? Are you saying that my son has already agreed to move in with you?
Yes, Mom. I'm going to go and live with Maria and Arthur.
You just keep your mouth shut! Look, Maria, I know that you said you want to pass your business on to your daughter, but this situation doesn't make any sense to me. I can just about put up with the idea of my daughter-in-law not quitting her job after marriage, even if I don't really like it one bit. But I cannot condone the idea of my son going to live with you. What kind of man goes to live with his wife's parents? It's not proper in the slightest. Well, obviously Mark's opinion on the matter is important, but we've already discussed it with him and he says that this is what he wants. We've already sorted out the living arrangements and talked about how we will be able to incorporate them into the business. I don't think you understand exactly how much of a catch my son is. I wasn't kidding when I said that girls are lining up just for a chance to date him, you know. Mark, I am completely against you going ahead with this marriage.
I'm against it too. What kind of husband lowers himself to go and live with his wife's parents? It's the duty of the daughter-in-law to move in with her husband's parents and make sure that they're well taken care of. I will not have a daughter-in-law who not only refuses to quit her job, but also has fanciful ideas about running a business.
That's right. And if you want to give your company to someone, then you should be giving it to my son and not your daughter. A man surely knows far more about how to manage an advertising and marketing company than any woman. Nikki, why aren't you saying anything? Don't you agree that things like running businesses should be left to the men? Well, it's already been decided that Mark will take over my dad's company, so I think that it will be a little too much for him to take over my mom's company as well. What do you mean, your dad's company?
Does that mean that you also run your own company, Arthur? Yes, that's right. I'm not as capable as my wife, but I run an interior design company called GN Interiors.
So, both of you are CEOs of your own companies. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Because we both run our own businesses, Nikki was always at home alone a lot. We try to do everything we can, but it's always ended up being Nikki doing all the housework for us. She never complains and is always understanding of us both being so caught up with work. You see, we rely on her so much that I think it's going to be quite difficult for us to let her go. So if Nikki and Mark decide to live with us, I think everyone's lives will be made easier.
But still, I don't like the idea of women going out there and running businesses.
I agree. Nikki is going to have to stop working in order to have a child eventually. And she also needs to make sure she takes care of us in our old age. Oh, don't you worry about that. If Nikki takes over my company, I'll have much less responsibility, so I'll be able to dedicate lots of time to helping her with the baby. And as we said, there's no way that Mark can take over my company since he's going to take over my husband's instead. He's already learning the ropes, and I'm sure he'll get the hang of it in no time. So you see, there's nobody better to take over my company from me than my own daughter.
But even so... Since you're insisting so much on having Nikki and Mark go and live with you instead of us, I was wondering what kind of arrangements you have in place for them.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, you see, we've already found a new place to move into which will have plenty of room for us all. It's a nice, spacious, 2-floor detached house out in the countryside with 5 bedrooms, so there will be plenty of room for future kids and for any guests who may want to stay over. The air quality is very nice out there, and it's not super crowded, so we thought that it would be perfect.
But won't going to and from work be a pain if you're living so far away from the city? They would be much better off living in our house in the city center where they can easily get to work in a hop, skip, and a jump.
Oh, getting to and from work isn't going to be a problem. There's a road linking the town we'll be living in directly to the city, and we all have our own cars. We think that all of us will be able to experience a better quality of life out there, and we're already in the process of signing the contract for the house, so it's basically a done deal.
But if it's a big house, it's surely going to be difficult to manage. And there must be a garden as well, right? Don't tell me you're trying to rope my poor son into looking after the house and doing the gardening. I will not see my son become anyone's slave.
Slave? Honestly, I don't know what kind of people you think we are. Of course we will all be working together to look after the house and the gardens. Nobody is going to be doing more work than the others. We have no intention on making things difficult for Mark, I assure you. They will have their own space in the house and we will have ours, and we won't interfere with their space. Did you have a better idea for how best to live comfortably in the same house as them?
I mean, a newlywed couple doesn't need a big fancy room or anything like that. We've cleared out the old storage room for Nikki to use. Yes, it may be a little cramped, but it will be good enough. As for Mark, he can move back into the room he had as a kid. So there will be room enough for them both.
Excuse me. So you're saying you want them to sleep in separate rooms, even after they're married? You want to send your son to his childhood bedroom and make our daughter sleep in the old storage room? What kind of arrangement is that?
Well, it's just...
So it seems that however you look at it, coming to live with us is going to be the best thing for them both. They will be comfortable, they will have their own space, and they will also be able to get first-hand business experience with us. Don't you agree, Randall? Well, a daughter-in-law's duty is still first and foremost to make sure that her husband's parents are well looked after. I think you're looking at this from the completely wrong perspective. This is not about you gaining a daughter-in-law, as if you're hiring some kind of domestic servant. This is about our children getting married. This isn't about us. It's about them, and what's the most comfortable way for them to start building their new life together. Obviously, whether they want to decide to be devoted to their parents or not is entirely up to them. But this idea that they should only focus on looking after you is a little unfair, don't you think? It's not like we haven't got assets and property to pass on to them as well.
After that dinner, we started officially making the preparations for my fiancé to move in with us and for him to start learning the ropes to take over my dad's company. As soon as he could terminate his rental contract, he moved straight in with us. The day he moved in, he was smiling brightly as he sat down to eat his first meal as an official member of the family. And it made me so happy to see that. I don't know what they decided to do after we spoke to them that day at the dinner, but I didn't receive any more contact from his parents. The next time we saw them was on the day of the wedding. I don't know if they really were scared off after hearing how formidable my parents were, but they didn't so much as send a text between the dinner and the wedding day. So I think that may have been the case. However, leading up to the wedding, the other members of the older generation of my fiancé's family kept asking me why I wasn't acting like the daughter-in-law they had expected me to be. So I suppose they had been bragging about the fact that they were planning to get us to come and live with them and perform our duty. Since Mark has a good job at a multinational corporation, they kept asking why I don't just quit my job and become a housewife anyway. So even if I didn't hear my mother-in-law's opinions directly from her, I still had to put up with hearing them from others. My fiancé didn't seem to be fazed by this at all, so I figured that he had been expecting this kind of behavior. I didn't want to let this slide though, so we prepared a little surprise event for my in-laws on the day of the wedding.
Mom, Dad, thank you so much for raising me all these years.
Oh, my son.
When I was a kid, there was a time that I thought that your attitudes towards family dynamics were correct. I believed that a marriage where the wife is unilaterally devoted to her husband and the husband reigns as the patriarch was a normal marriage. I thought that it was a given that I would end up living that life for myself one day. But one day, I suddenly realized that I didn't want that kind of life for myself. I started to want a mom who loves her husband and kids, but also focuses on making her own dreams come true rather than a mom who throws away her own life for the sake of her husband and kids. When I saw that my friends' moms were like that, I was so jealous of them. I started to want a dad who would take me and my friends out to play at the weekend rather than a dad who spends all his time yelling, trying to assert his authority. Again, when I saw that my friends' dads were like that, I was jealous of them. And when I started to spend time with Nikki and her family, and saw how they have animated conversations with each other every day and are welcoming when people come into their home, I kept thinking that I wanted that for myself more than anything in the world. I've never once had anything good to say about my family in front of other people, so I always just avoided talking about you at all. How could I go around saying to people that my mom basically waits on my dad hand and foot and my dad does nothing but yell at us all day? But now I have the chance to move in with Nikki and her parents and finally have the chance to be part of the loving family dynamic I've always dreamed of. I don't want to be the oldest son whose duty it is to look after his parents so that he can earn his right to his inheritance. I want to feel the warmth of familial love and become like the son they never had to Nikki's parents. Mom, Dad, thank you for everything that you've done for me. But from now on, I would like you to live as if I never existed in your lives. And I hope that you can find some way to be happy together.
So that's how my new husband and I ended up moving in with my parents. Because the new house has 2 floors, we decided to designate one for us and another for my parents so that we could make use of our space and feel like we had our privacy, but still be able to spend time with each other whenever we wanted to. It's definitely a world away from sleeping in my in-laws' old storage cupboard. Funnily enough, I think that my husband ended up spending more time in my parents' part of the house than I did. He would say he thought that my mom's cooking was more delicious than mine, or that he wanted to go and play games with my dad. He could think up a million excuses just to go and spend time with my parents. To be honest, at first I was worried that he might feel uncomfortable with our living arrangements, but he seems to be even happier than I am with how things have turned out. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts calling my parents mom and dad at this rate. My parents have already started referring to him as their son, so we've basically all become one big happy family. They don't seem to get sick of each other even though they see each other every day both at work and at home. As for my in-laws, they seem to have fallen into a despair after losing their son. Apparently other family members have also started to wash their hands of them after hearing that they tried to force us to go and live with them. The room that had been set aside for me became cold and drafty, and I heard it has been turned back into a storage room already. I have no idea why they thought it was acceptable to shove me in there when it's clearly not suitable for a person to live. It seems that they weren't ever going to accept me as a member of their family. The way my parents accepted my husband is the real spirit of family. Even if you're not related by blood, you can still welcome someone into the fold and treat them with love and affection, which is exactly what my parents did. And now that we're all settled in nicely, we're ready to welcome the newest addition to the family, who is sitting tight in my belly right now. The 4 of us can't wait for the little bundle of joy to bless us with their arrival, and we're busy preparing the house so that everything is ready.
So what we're saying is that if you're getting married, as our son, it's only right that you come and live with us and fulfill your duty of looking after us in our old age.
I guess you haven't given up that dream of having one of your sons coming to live with you, huh, Dad? Do you want my fiancé to call off the engagement? Because that's what will happen if you bring up the idea to her. Come on, honey, let's go.
Johnny! Wait! Just hear us out!
Honey, what should we do?
I don't know what the world has come to.
I know exactly what you mean. It must be because of the evil influences of TV. It only teaches bad things to the youth of today.
Well, if the first and the second won't do it, then we had better call the third. Let's tell him to find a nice, suitable girl to bring home to help look after his parents in their old age.
Good idea, good idea. Let's call him now. Since he's still single, there's more of a chance that we can try and get him to marry a girl of our liking who is less likely to go against our wishes. Let's see, let me just find his number.
This is the end of the story. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. I'm taking everything that Dad left us. Your inheritance is mine now.
What? Where is this coming from?
It's not like you need the money anyway. You already have plenty. Just give up your rights to your inheritance.
We just got back from the funeral today. Why are you doing this now? How can you be thinking of something like that at a time like this? Don't you feel anything at all?
I guess I should have known. You've always been the serious older sister, after all.
Aren't you even a little bit sad? Our dad just died. Do you even have any feelings?
Not really. It was always so obvious that you were Dad's favorite. He never paid too much attention to me.
What are you talking about? He loved you too. But you were always so rebellious. You never grew out of that rebellious phase like most kids do.
Oh, whatever. I don't want to hear that right now. Just as long as I can get what's mine. By which I mean everything.
It's not like he left that much to us anyway. He gave the house to me and Ross. Other than that, it's not like he had a whole lot of savings.
Exactly. So you're going to need to sell that house. I need the money.
Excuse me. Why would I do that?
Since Mom's already gone, the inheritance is just split between me and you, right? How are we supposed to split it 50-50 if you won't sell that house? That doesn't seem fair to me.
Are you trying to kick us out of our house? Where are we supposed to go?
Why should I care where you go? My question still remains. How are we supposed to split the inheritance 50-50 if you won't leave?
But you know that Ross and I took care of Dad for these last few years. Where were you all that time? You barely came around at all. And now as soon as he's dead, you want to come around claiming that you're owed half of everything? How dare you?
I'm his daughter. Of course I have a right to half of everything he owned. That's how this works.
I wanted to give us some time to work through our emotions before we talked about this. But I guess you won't let me. You know Dad wrote a will, right?
He wrote a will? Why didn't you ever tell me anything about this before? Why didn't he? Something doesn't seem right here. You're just trying to keep everything for yourself, aren't you?
I didn't know about it either. I only found it after he was gone.
Oh, come on. You expect me to believe that? What's it say anyway?
Ross says we should all sit down with a lawyer and read it. He said it wouldn't be right for us to just read it beforehand.
What's he talking about? So your husband's just after our dad's money too, huh? I know exactly what you two are up to. You're just trying to keep everything for yourselves.
It's so obvious. Ross would never do that. He's not that kind of person. I agree with him. We need to contact a lawyer. I think we should really follow the letter of the law with this.
Why do we need to involve the authorities in a letter our dad wrote to us? That doesn't make any sense to me. This is a family matter. I could never stand you or your husband. Why do you guys have to make things so complicated?
Look, it is what it is. We already reached out to a lawyer and apparently it could take about a month.
You gotta be kidding me. Why should it take so long? Let's just go ahead and read it and get it over with. If you don't want to do it, I'll just come over there and find it myself.
No, I'm telling you, you can't do that. We have to make sure everything's okay legally.
See? There you go again. Trying to keep everything for yourself. You always were so greedy.
Look, I told you we already reached out to a lawyer. The process has been started. Just be a little patient. It looks like somebody snuck into our house last night. I know it was you, Phoebe. Just admit it.
What's the problem? It's my house, too.
You stole Dad's will. I told you that the process had already started. Why can't you be a little patient?
Why should I wait around for you and your loser husband to get a lawyer involved? Like I said, this is a family matter. We should be able to handle it ourselves.
I guess I should have mentioned this to you before. You could be fined for going about this the wrong way.
Oh, who cares about a little fine? It can't be that much. Once I get what's coming to me, I'm sure I'll be able to pay it easily. But this will is really strange. I don't get it.
Well, what does it say?
It says that you and your husband get to keep the house, and all I get is savings. That doesn't sound like 50-50 at all to me.
He did tell me that's what he wanted to happen while he was still alive. I didn't want to say anything because I thought the will might say something different.
So how much did he have left? How much am I getting here?
As far as I could tell, all he had was one savings account and one checking account. Altogether, it looks like he had about $10,000.
Oh my God! He only had $10,000? How is that possible?
You know he was in poor health for the last few years. It cost him a lot of money just to pay for the care he needed.
You must be kidding. I'm sure you could get at least $500,000 for that house. How am I supposed to accept that I only get $10,000?
But I already told you that we're not selling this house. Ross and I have been living here, and we plan on continuing to do so. And it's not even really about the money. This is the house where you and I grew up. Doesn't that mean anything to you?
I should have known he would do this to me. He never liked me. You were always his favorite.
This is how he felt. You're going to have to accept that.
How am I supposed to accept this? I'm going to find some way to make you sell that house. Just you wait.
How do you think you're going to do that? I really don't think you've thought this through.
I haven't figured that part out just yet, but don't you worry. I'll figure something out. You better start looking for a new place to live. Okay, you ready to sell that house? Let's get this done.
I already told you we're not doing that. Why are you bothering me about this again?
It says right here in Dad's will. He wanted us to sell the house and split what we got right down the middle. How can you argue with that?
That's not what you said yesterday. How did your stories change so much?
It says what it says. I can't argue with Dad's last wishes. Why do you want to?
You have to show it to me. Oh my God, did you rewrite Dad's will? How could you do that?
So what if I did? What are you going to do about it?
Why would you think that's okay? That's forgery. It's a crime. And you just admitted it to me in writing.
Stop making such a fuss. Dad was in such poor health these past few years. His judgment was lacking. He was in no position to decide who should get what when he died. I think this is what he really would have wanted.
There's no way he would want us to sell this house. He told me before he died that he wanted me to keep taking good care of it. It really meant a lot to him.
I just went to talk to a lawyer. When I showed him the will, he didn't seem to notice at all that I had forged parts of it.
How can you just admit this so casually to me? Don't you realize what you've done?
You were just trying to threaten me when you told me there was a fine if we didn't go about this the right way. The lawyer I talked to said there's no such thing. So you can drop the act. I know you were just trying to keep everything for yourself this whole time.
Who cares whether you have to pay a fine or not? That's not important now. There's no way you're getting 1 penny anymore.
What are you talking about? The will says that we sell the house and I get half.
You'll definitely be disqualified from inheriting anything after what you've done.
What are you talking about?
When you forge somebody's will like that, you give up your right to inherit anything. Don't you have any common sense?
No, that can't be right. I've never heard anything like that before.
Oh, come on. You've heard of forgery before, right? Surely you know that you can't just rewrite legal documents without anyone's permission.
My handwriting looks enough like Dad's. It's close enough. I'm confident there's no way anybody will ever figure it out.
I can't believe you could be so stupid.
I'm telling you, it's going to be fine. No one will ever catch me.
You're not listening to me. Who's this lawyer you went and talked to anyway?
I went to Smith & Jones, attorneys at law.
Okay, I'm going to get in touch with them right away. You've lost your rights to inherit anything, just like I said you would.
Excuse me?
Because you modified Dad's will. I told you there was no way you would get away with that.
And I told you I did it so well that there was no way I would ever get caught. Weren't you listening to me?
It is true that we really didn't want to give up this house. We love living here. But more importantly, I didn't want to go against Dad's last wishes like that. There's no way I was going to let you get away with that.
Oh, there it is again. That super serious older sister stuff.
Oh, shut up. Don't you realize how much trouble you're in?
What are you so upset about? Look, I'm sure you'll have enough money after you sell the house that you'll be able to put a down payment on a condo somewhere.
You're still not listening. I told you we're not selling the house. And you're not going to inherit anything anymore after what you've done.
But I thought we were sisters? Don't you care about me at all? Shouldn't you look after your little sister now that Dad's gone?
You sent me that picture from before you altered the will. I just got back from talking with a lawyer. I showed him that picture.
How could you snitch on your own family like that?
Oh, so you know that you did something wrong, huh?
Fine, I'll settle for the $10,000. Can we just let this go now?
Have you not understood anything that I've been saying?
Why can't you just let this slide? You've always been so stubborn. Why do you have to do this to me? You're so hard-headed, I bet you can hammer in nails with your forehead.
Dad's will is now null and void. It's all because of what you did. It sounds like it's going to be quite the process, but you've lost your rights to inherit anything.
God, you've always been such a pain in the butt. Why do you have to be like this?
This is all your fault. Don't try to blame me for what you've done.
Just give me the money that was in Dad's bank accounts. It can't be that hard.
Not only do I not have to give you one penny, the lawyer says I can even sue you for damages.
Why would you do that? I'm your sister.
None of this would have happened if you hadn't tried to forge Dad's will. Don't you understand that you brought this on yourself?
All right, well, I've got a plan B. I guess I'll just have to burn down your house and then we can split the insurance money. Would you like that better?
How could you say something like that? This is the house we grew up in.
Look, I just really need that money.
What's the matter? Why do you need money so desperately?
It's none of your business. Just as soon as you can, I need you to send me that $10,000. I really need it.
Oh my God, I can't believe you still don't get it. I just got word that everything's finally all wrapped up.
Great, so where's my money? Where do I need to go to get it?
Who told you were getting any money?
It's just the two of us, sis. You wouldn't keep everything for yourself, would you? I know you wouldn't do that to me.
You need to explain yourself to me. Tell me why you need all that money so badly.
I don't want to talk about it. Stop asking.
Okay, fine. Have it your way. Goodbye.
Wait! Okay, fine, I'll tell you. The truth is, I owe somebody a bunch of money. Somebody else is already suing me.
Oh my God, what did you do?
Well, I was kind of dating this married guy. And then his wife found out about us.
What were you thinking? You're 35 years old. Why haven't you learned the difference between right and wrong yet?
Cut it out with the lecture. I really don't need it right now.
I really can't believe you. You're just never going to change, are you?
So anyway, now you know why I need the money. So when can I get it?
It actually turned out that Dad had one more account.
I wasn't sure that I would ever see you again, so I didn't say anything about it to you. So, how much was in that? Another $100,000. Oh, right! I knew he was hiding some money away somewhere. And he left another note about it, too. It says, "Phoebe, please use this money wisely." I knew he cared about me! Thanks, Dad. You're the best. But unfortunately, you have no right to the money anymore. What are you talking about? I thought you said there was a note specifically to me. How many times do I have to tell you this before you'll understand? You've been disqualified from inheriting anything from our dad. You're telling me I can't even get the money that he specifically left to me? That's exactly what I'm telling you, yes. No way! That's not fair! But that was Dad's last wishes. How would he feel if he knew you were going against him like this? You think I'm the one who's making him sad? How do you think he would feel if he knew about your affair with that married man? Look, I really don't care what you have to say to me. You are always such a nerd. Just give me access to that bank account. I don't have any of that paperwork in the house anymore. I never knew when you might sneak back in and steal something again. It's all at the lawyer's office now. Oh, okay. That same lawyer, right? I'll just head right over there. No, I went to a different lawyer this time. You don't have to go that far. Why are you doing this to me? This is fun for you or something? No, this isn't fun for me at all. I'm doing this for your own good. You need to reflect on what you've done. But how am I supposed to pay back this money I owe? Why can't you just help me out here? Both our parents are already dead. But you're 35 years old. There's no way I'm going to keep being your mother like this. You're on your own. It's up to you to figure it out for yourself. I'm not helping you this time. So, what are you saying? That we're not sisters anymore? Basically, yeah. I don't care if you never want to talk to me again. But I promised this guy I've been seeing that I would find a way to pay his wife. He said if I did, he would split up with her and we could move in together finally. I need that money to start a new life. Why do you want to deny me that? I don't know what I can say that would make you understand this. All I'm asking for is some money. Why is that so hard? Don't you get it? That guy's just using you. Once he gets that money out of you, he's definitely going to dump you. How could you not see that? What do you know about our relationship? It's none of your business. If you just kept your mouth shut, you would have had $110,000 coming to you. But I'm sure you would have just wasted it anyway. And now you've lost me. The only family you have left. You're not serious. I know you'd never cut me off like that. I have to do this. It's the only way I can make you understand what you've done. You're going to have to earn that money yourself. Maybe you'll finally feel sorry for what you've done when you realize how hard it is. And if that guy really does love you, he will split up with his wife and go move in with you. I doubt that'll happen, though. Oh, it'll happen. Just you wait. Why don't you ask him? Now that you're not getting any of your inheritance, ask him if he still wants to be with you. Of course he'll still want to be with me. Why wouldn't he? I'm going to ask him right now. No way. This can't be true. What did he say? He said he's not getting a divorce. He said he never wanted to be with me forever in the first place. It's just like I said. He was using you to try and get some money out of you. Aren't you glad you found out? Isn't it better knowing the truth? Wait, did he just dump me? How could this be happening? You should have known this was coming. He's a married man. Why would he leave his wife for you? I lost my man and I didn't get any money at all. Why do I have to suffer like this? What have I done to deserve this? Listen, Phoebe. You brought this on yourself. You need to take responsibility for your own actions. You have to help me. Please. Maybe now that you've lost everything, you'll finally realize what you've been doing wrong all these years. I hope this helps you start a new path in life. At least just let me have the money. Even just part of it. That would at least make this a little bit easier on me. I don't think this needs to be any easier on you. You need to learn how to take responsibility and clean up your own mess. But I won't even be able to pay my rent! Let me come stay there for a while. I promise I won't bother you at all. I won't cause any trouble. No, you need to grow up. You've been too spoiled for too long. Why do you have to be so mean to me? You disrespected the memory of our father. You tried to go against his wishes. You even committed a crime. Don't you get that? Aren't you ashamed of yourself? I realize now I was wrong. I shouldn't have tried to do all that. I should have just accepted what was coming to me. You need to go get yourself a job and pay your own rent. If you get your life on track and be the kind of daughter that Mom and Dad would have wanted you to be, then maybe we can go put flowers on their graves together someday. Phoebe got 2 jobs and worked day and night until she paid off all the money that she owed. And she's even able to pay her own rent. The married guy she was seeing got kicked out of his house by his wife in the end. Now he's just on the run from his wife because he doesn't want to give her what she's owed. He tried to get back together with Phoebe, but she finally had the good sense to turn him down. Maybe she really can change. She said she wants to go visit Dad's grave next month. She asked if I wanted to go with her. Maybe I'm still being too soft on her, but I'm thinking about going with her. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and let us know what you thought in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this and press the bell for notifications.